What's up, guys? Back in today with more Liar Game. This time of episode 11, maybe? Yep, episode 11. Really good end to the downsizing game last week. I really enjoyed the game overall. Thought it was a really interesting kind of combination of two concepts. The outcome was really nice as well, with the person eliminated actually being the kind of winner in a way. But yeah, I love what Now done with that. I love who she chose as well. I think he fully deserved it. But I heard a lot of good things about this upcoming arc. I say I heard a lot of good things. I've heard a lot of people very anticipatory of a character going to be introduced here, I believe. So that should be a lot of fun. So far, nobody's rivaled Akiyama, I think his name is. Nobody's kind of rivaled him just yet, so that may change. But very glad that I think this is going to be two cores, hopefully continuously. Unfortunately, I do think the opening is going to change because the visuals are only what we've seen already. It's a bit of a shame. Or maybe they just might change up some visuals, perhaps. Maybe they might change some of the characters that show up here, maybe. A contraband game. A same shitty setting of a rundown bowling alley. Yeah, we've got a Now Chan on our side. Loyal house, eh? So I'm going to yap a bit unrelated here. I've got apologise. You can skip ahead if you do so like. And I hope some of you might not be offended by this, but I do see shows like this, Death Note, Classroom of the Elite. People seem to really gravitate towards these like genius characters that are like the smartest person in the show. It's something I've noticed a lot. People seem to really love this type of character that just like knows everything, has got the answer to like everything, and is just like an absolute genius. And I do wonder why they like. For me, I like it. Don't get me wrong, and it's fun. But it's there's a certain like distance between me and like characters like this because of sometimes how inhuman they are. I think Akiyama is kind of different. I'm thinking of like an Ayano Koji from like Classroom of the Elite. Like that guy's got so many fans and so many people that like absolutely adore him and are just like massive fans. Um, I do wonder if does that come from a place of like seemingly relatability? Like these people think they're like a super genius as well, and they can relate to someone who's like them in that regard. Um, it's just I always get so fascinated when I see like debates about those type of characters because the fans of these types of characters seem so loyal and so like attached, and they get very angry if you like say anything bad about like the character, and they're very passionate. That's the word I'm looking for. They're very passionate fans of characters like these super genius type characters, and I just think that's quite interesting to think about. As I said, I like these types of characters, but I always again feel a bit at arm's length. Like I can't really relate to them that much. I can't like understanding them's a bit harder. Of course, like I'm much more compelled to like, again, controversial opinion here considering the amount of hate I've seen about her, but I'm much more inclined to support and like a character like Now rather than Akiyama. Like I prefer Now, and I think that again is quite the unpopular opinion, but she's just a bit more relatable and likable and understandable, and um like I just like her more and support her more. Whereas again, I think the majority of people, and that's something I struggle to get my head around a little bit. I can understand why people will get pissed off at her. Don't get me wrong. Um, don't get me wrong at all. She does do some pretty silly things, especially in regards to like the known quantity of this being a liar game and her being pretty naive. But yeah, I just find the kind of psychology of that really interesting as to why people much prefer these type of super genius characters rather than the kind of more um naive ones. I'm totally the opposite in that regard. I'm a bigger fan of her. Sorry to go on a bit of a yap session there, but I was thinking about that this week. Again, especially with Ida Koji from Glass Movie, like, why is this guy so liked? He's not really a very likable guy. He's like super genius. He uses people. He manipulates people. Like, why do people relate and like him so much? I got no idea. Why are the fans so rabid as well? I think he's got a point, but I don't think he's entirely correct in what he says there. So sometimes these shots seem so squished. Like sometimes the characters' eyes look so squished, like stretched. Credit card. Oh, got a bus. Going on a trip. Go a road trip, baby. See, I kind of agree with what Akiyama said there. I don't think it's inherently indifferent to trust everybody. I think there's some. I think there's something you can be. I think there's something pretty admirable about it in a way. Yes, it's very naive, but I mean, there is the way of looking at it of like the indifference, but I don't know if that's exactly the case for her. They're gonna fly you over to Colombia and sell your organs. Oh, this is what the game's about. We're gonna ship someone off to get sold. The loser gets flown away to fucking yeah. Yeah, I know, right? I was about to mention this is surely incredibly expensive, even if it is run down. The assets these people have are crazy. I've got to imagine it relates to Akiyama's backstory in some way. contraband game. This game, you try and smuggle drugs overseas to make us money. Yeah, it sure does. Make believe foreign countries. Country of Dare. This is. I think I can already tell this is going to be quite the complex. It has been getting increasingly more complex, so this certainly already seems like the most complex game, and we haven't even had it explained yet. The fact that they've actually gone to the lengths of taking us to an airport for this is really intriguing. I'm not sure if that's just to make us feel even more kind of embraced in the game, or so like if we just done this in a random room, it wouldn't feel like we got countries involved and so on. I think that's quite interesting that they would shell out so much just for the kind of immersion factor. So we've got two countries, contraband game, Land of Day and the Land. Again, I'll probably be pausing a few times throughout just to get my head around things. So beware. I'm very intrigued. Again, I heard a lot of people talking about a new character. I'm very intrigued to see where this new character is, because at the minute it's just all the people from the last couple games. It's a problem for you. Oh, if the side loses, then you'd lose that money soon. Hmm? Yeah, of course. The home of banking. Look at they even like printed the names on the floor. Hmm, interesting. So the other side will be inspectors. So I like Fukunaga's outfit. Got a fan of that. your card in, take the money out. I'm really intrigued to see what like the argument's going to be. You got 300 one side, 100 the other. 100 safe. Why are you laughing like that? Yeah, sure it does. Means 400 million debt. Again, I'm very intrigued to see how the inspection is going to go down. $100 million max each time. Okay. But this is actually like a functioning ATM. No, that's not a real ATM. Okay, so this is one that they've concocted. This is a functioning ATM, but one that they've designed because ain't no ATM work like that. Not any that I've seen. And as you could expect, because I can't imagine. Again, like I might be looking way too far into things. These things don't really matter. I don't really care about them too much. Like I've got no issue with it, but like on the logistics side of things, if this was like an actual real ATM, like what must the bank of this like be thinking when there's so much money going in and out, and like what are you taking out so much money for? Like that's certainly a question your bank would be asking if you're taking out 300 odd million. So yeah, this is almost definitely something they've concocted and designed here, right? Because they can't be doing this like officially through real banks. Like no way. As real as that does look. And it had a bloody drawer. I've never seen a bank have a bloody drawer like that. Again, it's not really that much of an important detail, but I've got to assume that again it's all of this pretty much is their own kind of making. But yeah, pretty simple so far. As I said, I feel like the real interesting stuff is like what happens with the inspection. Um, like what are the other team going to be like asking questions about and like interrogating you over, and like yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how that works. How you can do one over on the inspectors. Like I was thinking initially, you can just go to from the country of day to the country of night, pretend to get money out, don't get anything out, and then just like waste their time while someone else goes and gets money out. And like I don't know, yeah, we're still hearing the rules, so I shouldn't think about it too much. But that's the one thing I'm really intrigued about so far is the inspection. Reasonably simple so far. It definitely is the most complex game by far. Yeah, I can already tell that for sure. There's already a lot of steps. Where you will get inspected. So, is the character people are talking about the inspector? Member of the airport police. But no, because the inspection comes from the other team. They said, right? Magical glasso desu. And a member of the other team. That's the really fascinating aspect. That it's someone from the other team. that is the inspector. That's really fascinating. Why would you ever let anyone through? It must be some kind of negative if they get it wrong. So yeah, it's like, what's in the box? Oh wow, there's an additional. Got to say how much they have as well. For what end? Do you lose money if you of like the difference? Okay, okay, makes sense. Half of the. Okay, but what happens if they get it right, but they guess the wrong amount? Here we go. Here we go. Yep, simple enough. Yep. Case is empty. We just heard about. Just heard that one. Now the next one is where the real interesting case comes in. Really? Really? So if you say 50 mil and there's 20 million inside, you just you take all their money. You huh. Why would you not just say the max every time then? Because you stand to lose 50 million because you stand to lose the max every time if you're wrong, I guess. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, this game has certainly got a lot of possibility. Interesting. So if you say 50 mil and they've got 60. Wow. So if you get called out and they got it right, but they say under the amount you've got, you still win. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. See, I would have thought it would be like you then like have to pay. They don't get away with it, but you then have to give them like 10 million of like the difference. That's really interesting. They actually just fully get away with it. And I didn't even catch this bit. So they get the 60 million through, and they get half the amount of the doubt. Wow, wow, holy crap! That's really interesting. If you say 50 mil, I'm literally going to regurgitate what you said here. If you say 50 mil and they brought 60 through, the person that brought 60 through is getting their 60 mil, and they're getting 25 mil on top of that. Wow. I mean, this is a lot, so don't expect me to remember this all. Wow. I did not expect it to work like that. This is, I mean, as usual, it's a massive bluff game, this, isn't it? Like, holy crap. These guys are going to be bluffing like hell. This is going to be tense. This is going to be tense. It's already like reasonably complex. I wonder if there'll be any more elements added to this. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that really is a punish and a half. That is like the worst outcome. That is a punish. I mean, I say that's the worst outcome. A really bad outcome is the first one as well, where you doubt and then they'd have nothing and you have to pay them, especially if you say a lot. Good start, Kanzaki. Good start. $50 rounds. Do you reckon it has to be a new person every time? I mean, they've all got their own account, so inevitably it won't just be the same old people, but you could have someone like Akiyama do this a lot more than another member of the team, which would be helpful. Okay. So you could lose and still make money. That's good. That's the most unrealistic thing in the show. That right there. Don't even sound like her. Okay. Sorry, I did just kind of miss that. Taken aback by the evil now. So if you say they got 50 mil, they got 50 mil. That you then take their 50 mil for yourself. Not the case where it just goes back in their account. That money's gone from them for good. Okay. Let's go. You failed to smuggle all your money after the conclusion of 50 rounds. Any remaining funds are then confiscated by the country. But then how is that distributed? Is that distributed evenly to every participant in that team? If there's 5 people, then they'll get 80 million each. Then I assume. Okay, yeah, sounds fair. Okay, so there is again a team element and a individual element. Okay, as I said, this game certainly is complex so far. There's a lot of layers to this. I'm really intrigued at the process they go through before the kind of inspection. Honestly, like I don't know why they detailed out so much of the getting the elevator, going around, going to the border. Like, there's something more interesting there that they haven't spoken about yet. I was really intrigued why they shoot so much of that process of just walking to the border. I mean, yeah, you could win a lot more than $1 billion. Possibly. Yeah, good question. You get to choose. Dum dum. Got some dum dums. And they've already been chosen. Okay. Isn't there an odd number of people here? Not gonna happen, is it? Oh, so that's where the new characters come from. We're all on one team. Bunch of new people. Okay, okay. Okay, bunch of new characters. Okay, who do you think the character is that people are talking about in my comment section? People are very anticipatory of a certain character. Who is it? Big muscle head is obviously gives off the vibe of big muscle head. Stupid, but that might very well be a deceit. I'd love to look at their faces, but just from the back, the guy with the white hair stands out. The guys that don't stand out stand out. Okay. Oh bloody hell, that guy is nasty. Look at him. What does that say? Dead or alive, but the alive is upside down for some reason. Okay. I've never played that game. What the hell's on this guy on the right? Why is that guy white? Like not just white, but like he's white, like pale as a ghost. What the hell's up with him? This guy looks dodgy as fuck. Honestly, this guy with the red hair is so similar to the red-headed punk from the last arc that lost. It's actually quite funny. But yeah, who is the genius here? Who is the genius? Who is the guy that everyone's talking about? I mean, we've got a what 12% chance ish of randomly picking. So I'm going to exclude the three in the middle just because they're in the middle of the shot. But someone on the fringes, I think. Oh, I'm going to go with the white haired guy. I'm going to go with this guy. I don't know who he reminds me of, but he reminds me of someone. I can't quite put my name on it. Okay, I see. So, as I said, it makes sense now. I was going to say 4 versus 5 seemed a bit unfair, so it's going to be 9 versus 9. Hey, that's that voice actor. Recognize him. I mean, you already looked at him. They could be stupid as fuck. Deceptively capable. Big boobs as well. Ew, that's near. Not sure what rumours he got about her. Hey, stop with that. Just because she's nice doesn't mean she's stupid. She's naive, yes, but not stupid. Insurmountable hair. Yokoya. Yokoya, hey. They're not going to show us who it is, are they? Yokoya. I could just Google that right now and find out, but I'm not. I'm not gonna. Okay. Yokoya. It's interesting that they gave us his name. No face though. Name without a face. Eyes. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Pretty good setup. Pretty. I think this one is a lot easier to get my head around than the last one, honestly. But I do recognise it is even more complex. I think the complexity in the last one came from the two different kind of systems having to merge together, whereas this one it is just one streamlined game. But it does have many more possibilities, and we've got a bunch of new elements involved here and 9 new characters. So looking forward to meeting more of them, seeing what they're like. Right there. Next week. Yokoya. The whole episode named after him. I do find it interesting sometimes where they don't use like the kanji for the names. I don't know what they mean by that. Yokoya. Is this one written in katakana as well? So he's foreign. Is that the case here? Is this Yokoya foreign? If that's the case, then I might be slightly correct in my suspicions of one of the if he is foreign, again, I could just be like talking nonsense. I'm not any expert at the Japanese alphabet, especially with like the 3 systems. If I to be honest with you guys, I assumed after they told us the name of this guy that this wouldn't actually be the super genius that people have been talking about in the comments. I assumed that this would be like a red herring of like, oh, you've got to watch out for this Yokoya guy, but there's actually somebody else behind the scenes, even smarter than him. If it is the case that it's a foreigner, I mean, to be honest, all of these guys, none of these guys look really Japanese, except for the guy in the middle. He looks like a squirrel, to be honest. If I was to assume he was Japanese here, it'd be the guy on the far right because he looks relatively normal. Maybe the red-haired dude, the guy in the middle, maybe the guy with the bush, and maybe these guys on the left. But to be honest with you guys, not many of these guys look Japanese. So Yokoya could be anybody here, honestly. If it is a foreign name, it's not. It seems like a very Asian foreign name, doesn't it? Yokoya. You don't really hear that name outside of. To be honest, I rarely hear that name in Asia in general. But yeah, we've got to look out for the more foreign. This guy looks like he's from Spain. This guy looks like he's from somewhere like Eastern Europe or something. I couldn't tell you where this guy would be from. This guy looks kind of like American, somewhere in America. Yeah, these two kind of look Japanese, I guess. This guy, he looks like Mr. Freeze. I think that's who I was maybe thinking of earlier. He looks like Mr. Freeze, so he maybe looks like he's from. I mean, I guess he looks Asian as well. I guess this guy looks very Asian, honestly. The white dude, so I'm already counting him out. And this guy looks Japanese as well. So yeah, kind of like Jesus, doesn't he? But yeah, thank you guys for watching. As I said, really intriguing start. Some really interesting rules. Very, very strange things to focus on. As I said, like the whole system of them walking to the inspection. I thought that was really intriguing. Maybe there'll be some more stuff going on with that later on. But the explanation was pretty damn edible, I think. I think that was really well done. Very understandable, not confusing in the slightest, I don't think. Pretty much got my head around it. Again, don't expect me to fully remember all of the rules, because there was a lot, but I've pretty sure I got my head around it. Like, there's these 4 cases, and they're all reasonably simple. Quite unexpected, to be honest. It seems like it's even more kind of. There's not really many cases where it's like decent for both sides. It really is just like the winner takes all a lot of the time, it seems, in these negotiations. So it's going to be very fluffy, very tense and intense. So yeah, great setup so far. I'm, as I said, looking forward to meeting a bunch of these new characters. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode though down in the comments. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you guys did enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date. And I'll catch you guys next week with episode 12.